A young elephant is standing in a shallow river screaming. Its front leg is swollen to twice the normal size. A wire is cinched around it, sawing deeper every time it pulls. The herd crowds the bank, helpless. Then the calf turns, sees a group of humans, and does something that should never happen in the wild. It walks toward them, closer, still closer, close enough to be grabbed, close enough to be killed, close enough to smell sweat, hear voices, and face the same species that set snares like this in the first place. Why would a wild animal do that? And the elephant is not the only one. Off the coast of Australia, a manta ray the size of a dining table glides straight at a diver. There is fishing line wrapped tight around its body, cutting into the skin behind one fin. The diver reaches out. The ray does not bolt. It hovers there, almost motionless, while human fingers work the line free. In California, a sea lion surfaces beside a diver with a hook lodged in its mouth. It keeps returning. Again, as if presenting the injury, as if waiting for the stranger underwater to understand the assignment. In Canada, a fox appears near a house with one paw grotesquely swollen. It does not run when the door opens. It stays put long enough for people to see the trap biting into the leg. In the open ocean, a humpback whale hangs beside a boat with rope wrapped around its tail and pectoral fin. It could dive, it could roll, it could disappear into miles of black water. Instead, it stays near the surface while people cut through the lines one strand at a time. Different continents, different species, different oceans. And somehow the same scene keeps happening. An animal in pain, a human nearby, and a decision that makes no sense. Because wild animals are supposed to fear us. They are supposed to vanish into brush, explode into the sky, dive into dark water, kick, bite, thrash, or die trying. Fear of humans is not a mistake. It is usually the smartest thing an animal can have. We hunt them, trap them, poison them, hook them, net them, fill their habitats with engines and wire and plastic. So what are these animals seeing in us that overrides all of that? How does a whale know to stay still beside a boat? How does a fox know to limp toward a door instead of away from it? How does an elephant look at a human and decide that these strange little primates with ropes and knives and loud voices might be the only chance left? That is the unsettling part. Not that humans sometimes rescue animals, that an animal in the middle of terror sometimes seems to know we can. Life in the wild almost never gives injured animals a second chance. A broken leg is not an inconvenience, it is a countdown. Infection spreads, parasites gather, predators notice. Hunger keeps arriving whether you can move or not. A snare around the neck tightens every hour. Fishing line cuts deeper every time the body struggles. If you live in a herd, the herd may keep moving. If you live alone, nobody comes. No bandages or painkillers. Just time running out, and that changes the calculation. A healthy deer sees a person and bolts. A deer tangled in netting may stand there trembling while the same person walks closer with a knife. A healthy seal slips back into the sea. A seal with line cutting into its throat may crawl toward a beach full of humans because the beach is terrifying, but the line is worse. That is the first piece of the answer. Pain can overpower rules that normally feel absolute. Avoid humans. Keep distance. Run now. In a crisis, those rules start to break. But pain alone is not enough. A terrified animal does not automatically become trusting. Usually it becomes more dangerous, more chaotic, more desperate. Most wild animals in distress do exactly what you would expect. They flee, they hide, they attack, they vanish before help arrives. The strange cases are the exceptions, which means something else has to be happening too. The simplest explanation is learning. Animals do not need language to understand cause and effect. They only need memory. They need to notice that one thing follows another. The trap hurts. Struggling makes it worse. Another animal was once freed near people. Boats sometimes injure, but boats also sometimes bring fish. Humans sometimes chase. Humans sometimes cut. Humans sometimes change things. That last part is crucial. Humans are not one thing in the animal world. To a wild creature, we are not just predators. We are a category of bizarre consequences. We burn landscapes, we leave garbage, we make noise, we carry food, we kill from far away. We build barriers no one else can understand, and we manipulate the world with our hands in ways almost no other species can. If you are an animal with wire around your leg, that matters, especially because so many of these injuries are human-made in the first place. A lion cannot cut monofilament. A dolphin cannot remove a steel hook. An elephant cannot unlock cable, and a whale cannot unwind nylon rope from its own tail. Human technology creates traps that animals are almost powerless to solve, then leaves the only possible solution in the hands of the species that caused the problem. We are both the trap and the knife. And animals notice patterns faster than we like to admit. Crows drop nuts onto roads so cars can crack them open. Bears memorize trash pickup schedules. Urban monkeys learn traffic. Wolves test fences. The The wild is full of creatures running little experiments all day long. Most of those experiments are small. Can I eat this? Can I get around that? What happens if I try this instead? But under extreme pressure, that same flexibility can produce a much stranger experiment. What happens if I approach the human? For some species, that leap is more likely than for others. Elephants, dolphins, whales, great apes, corvids, some carnivores, a handful of highly social mammals and birds. These animals do not move through the world as bundles of fixed reflexes. They remember individuals. They learn by watching. They solve problems. They tolerate uncertainty when there is a possible reward on the other side. An elephant calf may not understand medicine. It does not need to. It only needs to recognize that humans gather around injuries, touch bodies with tools, and sometimes make terrible things stop. The same goes for whales and dolphins. They already live in social worlds where bodies matter, where individuals support the injured, where coordinated intervention is normal. So when a whale remains beside a boat during disentanglement, the behavior is extraordinary, but it is not magic. The whale does not need a theory of human kindness. It only needs to hold one flexible possibility in its mind. These beings near me can change what is happening to my body. That may be enough. There is also a detail people often miss in these rescue stories. What looks like trust is often something darker. An animal standing still while a person cuts away wire can seem calm, almost cooperative, but sometimes the animal is exhausted, sometimes it is cornered, sometimes every ordinary escape route has already failed. The stillness is not peace. It is the final option left after panic has burned itself out. From our side, that can feel emotional and almost intimate. The eye contact, the hesitation, the strange closeness. People watch those moments and feel that the animal has chosen them personally. Sometimes maybe it has, in a limited sense, but often the real story is harsher. Not "I trust you, I have run out of alternatives." And that is still remarkable because it means overriding one of the oldest survival rules on Earth. Do not close distance with the thing that throws spears, sets traps, drives engines, and kills at range. Unless staying away is worse. That is why the exceptions matter so much. They tell us something about intelligence, but also something about the world we have built. Wild animals increasingly live inside human systems whether they want to or not. Suburbs, fishing grounds, farms, marinas, tourist beaches, shipping lanes. In huge parts of the planet, there is no clean boundary anymore between human space and wild space. A fox with a crushed paw may have no forest left that is free of roads. A seal wrapped in plastic may spend its whole life around docks and boats. An elephant may grow up in a landscape stitched with farms, wire, and patrol vehicles. So when an injured animal searches its surroundings for the most powerful force nearby, it finds us. The species that dominates the terrain. The species that ruins things. The species with hands. That is part of why these moments hit people so hard. They feel like moral reversals. For one brief second, the animal kingdom seems to look at the monster and decide the monster might be useful. And often the animal is asking relief from damage we created ourselves. The seal with the ring, the whale with the rope, the elephant with the snare. We watch the rescue and feel warmth. The animal is living inside the aftermath of our mess. That does not make the rescue less meaningful. It makes it heavier. People always want to know whether the animal feels gratitude afterward, whether the whale understands, whether the elephant knows it was saved. Science cannot translate that cleanly. There is no sentence we can pull from inside a sea lion's head, but the deeper point does not depend on gratitude at all. An animal does not need a human idea of kindness to seek human help. It needs pain severe enough to break an old rule. It needs a brain flexible enough to try a new one. And it needs a world where humans are powerful enough to injure, trap, and occasionally rescue. For most of human history, a wild creature approaching a person at close range was walking toward danger. Clubs, spears, fire, dogs, hunger. Humans were not a clinic. We were another predator, only stranger than the rest. The modern rescuable animal lives in a more distorted world, one where the apex predator sometimes arrives with bolt cutters, antibiotics, sedatives, and a wildlife hotline. That world is unnatural. It is also, sometimes, merciful. So why do wild animals seek humans for help? Usually they do not. Most avoid us, and they are right to. But in the rare moments when one of them turns and comes closer, something extreme has happened. Pain has cornered it. Instinct has failed it. Experience has left one impossible option on the table. The most dangerous animal in its world may also be the only one capable of changing that world back. The young elephant steps out of the river and lifts the trapped leg.